The Green Bay Police Department is participating in a program this evening seeking to curb railroad crossing collisions.
Comes after about 30 close calls since the beginning of the year where vehicles and trains nearly crashed on North Quincy Street. Emily Riley explains what the Officer on a Train program entails.
This intersection on North Quincy is an industrial area with lots of rail traffic and considered part of an epicenter of close calls between cars and trains in Green Bay. Recently, officials say rail lines began running more trains through here than drivers are used to.
I think that because we're in the industrial kind of park area, people aren't necessarily looking for it. They're a little surprised at the trains. We don't have the crossbars that drop at this intersection.
The Officer on a Train safety initiative involves one police officer riding a train back and forth from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday night along North Quincy Street between Eastman Avenue and Radisson Street. Two other officers posted on each side of the tracks are then notified by the officer on the train of drivers he sees making safety violations. The two officers then get in contact with those drivers and educate them on railroad safety.
Better results in the long term by having that cooperative conversation, a little education, a little learning, then we all move on with our days.
The Wisconsin Railroad Commissioner says there are 6 to 10 fatalities caused by railroad crossing crashes each year statewide. He says people should be prepared to stop, even at quiet intersections.
When trains don't go regularly across, they only intermittent, people think, well, I haven't seen one here for a long time, I'm just going to go through. And so that's how accidents happen.
Officers are warning drivers to slow down, prepare to make a full stop at railroad crossings, and always keep your eyes on the road. In Green Bay, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.